Hi, my name is Robin Witt. I'm with the Rainbow Dems of Orange County. And today I'm with a very special guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure, absolutely. Sandra Fatmi-Hall, candidate for Orange County District 2 Commissioner. Pleasure to be here with you.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you.
So we're just going to ask some questions about the LGBTQ plus community.
Sure.
First, I want to ask, what is your experience with our community? Do you do volunteer work? Have you ever done volunteer work with our community? Donations? Do you have family members who are part of our community? How close are we?
Okay, so I am quite close. Yes, I do have family members, absolutely, that live in New York currently.
Ooh.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you something, we have an open door policy with our family. We embrace everyone. Healthy relationships are key to every single thing that we do. And in the after school enrichment and mentoring program that we have, it actually expands even more because our doors are open to everyone. And we do have members of the LGBTQ plus in our group, extremely open. Our conversations are very open to the point where they get a little bit deep with family members and what's going on there. So from a mentoring standpoint, I do help, I do listen, I do share what I think we should do with next steps and how we can help them to get over some of the issues that we're going through right now. And it's pretty deep. We've also sent some off to college. So in terms of donating, that's what we've done.
Yeah,
right,
that's a huge service.
That is. And we're actually getting ready to have 2 of our students from 4 years ago graduate this year from FAMU, so I'm excited about that.
That's very exciting.
Going into fashion designing, and they're very good at it.
Ooh, I can't wait to see what they produce.
Oh, absolutely, it's going to be big things. Yes.
And so, in terms of personal volunteering, have you ever worked with like Quality Florida or any other groups?
No, I've not been approached, but there's no time
fine.
Like the present.
Of course, and now it's very important.
Absolutely.
In Tallahassee, we've seen a uptick in anti-LGBTQ plus legislation. Famously, right now we have the Don't Say Gay bill, which has passed both the House and the Senate, and we have the Stop Woke Act. So, of those bills, they're going to have a very negative effect on our community at the local level, even if they are found to be unconstitutional. The impact of simply passing them, it's going to provide a reason for homophobes and transphobes to keep up their behavior. So during the debate over Don't Say Gay, we heard quite a bit of nasty stuff. I don't know if you personally watched it. I had the misfortune of watching it live. So one of the things we saw is a lot of false and often offensive statements regarding the LGBTQ plus community. Senator Garcia was particularly nasty, saying that we're just a way of life and that it's temporary. And there's nothing about me that's temporary.
Right.
But what steps would you take to help educate the people of Orange County about the LGBTQ plus community and improve acceptance and support levels?
Well, that's a great question. Thanks for the question. I think it's time that we not just take it for granted that people are educated, because there's always this fear. Fear seems to have taken over, right? It's been around for a long time,
Yes.
but it's taken over more so now than any other time. And that's what we do when we're not sure about something, where we're not comfortable. So I think the education piece is huge for us to have dollars thrown behind educating, and advocating for policies where people know, listen, what was done by President Obama back, I think it was back in 2015 or somewhere around then, if I'm not mistaken, to help protect this community, and then they walked that back in 2017. I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong on every level. I would take steps to do an education piece through forums, align myself with your group and other groups that can help educate our community. They have to listen. When you think you know something and you're talking about it and you're instilling fear, that's not right for us to do. So I think the education piece is huge for me. For example, I sat with our state attorney to talk about a case that she ruled on. Everyone was entirely upset about the ruling. When she sat down and explained why she ruled the way she did and educated us all, it was a completely different outcome, right? So I think that piece is huge for me to implement immediately with the education piece. And why are we not putting people in place that have an open mind? That's why I'm here sitting with you, because I have an open mind. LGBTQ plus community are human beings. We're people. You have rights. You know, once we start discriminating against one group, we discriminate against all groups, right?
It's once they're done with one group, they go to the next one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm never in favor of that. So I think the education piece is a plus. I think partnering up is another. Yes. It's important to advocate and to absolutely share what you know about your community, what you're experiencing, and why we too should listen and be a part of the change, because it's important.
It's very important. And I appreciate the putting forward listening before acting. It's something we see a lot is people trying to speak for the LGBTQ plus community, and this is not unique to our community, I'm sure, without actually understanding us.
Absolutely. I think that's important.
Or our issues.
Yes.
And being transgender, I feel that a lot with even other LGBTQ plus people who try to help us, but end up not, because they're not totally in the know as who we are.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting. For
How
sure.
are you attempting to speak on a group of people that you don't know anything about, right? You need to take the time to learn.
There's a lot of that in history.
Absolutely, and I think we need to stop that. And we need to take change and take a strong position in making sure we're putting people in office that absolutely understand that and are open-minded to that. And I am one of those people.
I'm very glad to hear that.
Thank you. Absolutely.
I didn't get the impression that you weren't one of those people.
No,
but,
absolutely not. But yeah, I think
it's always nice
important
to hear it said.
Thank you. And it's very important. And if I may say, I've been approached by several groups to speak on this issue, and they want to make sure where I stand. And, so many different groups are taking over, but don't forget about God. And I reminded them about something. I reminded them that we have a responsibility as human beings. If you're going towards church, you must understand we have a responsibility to bring people to the church, not turn them away.
Yep, exactly. And I always find it interesting with people who say they're followers of Jesus, but don't follow his biggest rule. And it's always, growing up in a very religious community, it was interesting. I keep using the word interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's because I mean it sarcastically. It was shocking to see the hypocrisy.
Yes.
In how people expressed their religious views. And you're right. We need to put forward keeping people, inviting and keeping people in the church, as opposed to turning them away. Yes.
Yeah.
So outside of education, or maybe in addition to education,
yes,
what role does Orange County play? What role should Orange County play in leading on LGBTQ plus rights?
Well, I think the Board of County Commissioners has a responsibility to bring about a reform to unite communities. We're not supposed to divide. So we can shy away from it all we want, but I think we play a very intricate role. As soon as you step outside your door, you're talking to a commissioner. right? So that means it involves bringing together people, injustices with our youth in our community, with every different organization or groups of individuals. Doesn't work. It divides our community. So as commissioners, right, that are responsible for budget and policy, we play an intricate role in making sure that we bring communities together and unite communities. That's a must. So we must step in and do something about it. We can't just say it's not our problem, right? It's not a role that we should play something or a part in. It's something that we should be intricately involved in, and others will follow, right, if we lead.
I agree. What we're seeing right now is not a whole lot of leadership. We definitely have great advocates on the county commission, but not a lot of action. Raising the pride flag for 1 month a year is not action. And what we need is funds to these nonprofits. I'm a political organization, so I can't receive that funding. But we have plenty of nonprofits, Bros in Convo Initiative, Divas in Dialogue, etc., and who are doing the good work. Zebra Coalition, who did receive quite a bit of funding from, I believe it was Orange County, or it was Orlando, one of the two, this past year. And we need more of that. We need funds and attention going to the groups who are already doing the work.
Yes, I'm a big advocate of that. If you're already doing the work, absolutely put dollars behind you to continue the work. Oh, I'm very big on that. As someone that's done the work for so many years in helping to unite our community, I'm very, very big on that.
Yeah. So my next question has to do with the transgender community. So we've been under, as I alluded to before, I am transgender, and we've been under, especially in Florida, a lot of negative attention from the governor's office, from the state legislature, to just in our local cities and towns, because Florida has the highest rate of murder of transgender people. And while the reporting of transgender deaths of murder is still improving, a lot of places still misgender people when they're in their obituaries or when newspapers report them. And that is improving, so we're able to starting to see the real numbers, and it's shocking, with over 50 from last year, and with the majority of those being here in Florida. So it's important for our government leaders to protect and do things that would help protect us, because nobody else can do that work for us. So as a county commissioner, where do you see the county's role in that? Would you have any ideas? And this maybe goes into topics of security within the county, or community leadership, community protection.
Yes. Well, first of all, that's disturbing. First of all,
it's a very disturbing fact.
And any kind of crime or target on anyone of any gender, race, is of huge concern for me, but huge focus will be put on that, because I don't tolerate, nor should anyone, any kind of crime, any abuse on any gender. And I think that I have to work with law enforcement. I have to work with our state attorney's office on the end where it's already taking place. But let's talk about prevention. Prevention for me is huge, right? Let's prevent us from even getting there. Let's put it out there so people can know, if this is what you're planning to do, or this is your intention, this will not be tolerated under any circumstances. And I think stiff penalties should definitely be put out there so that you know that this is a crime that you should not do. And there'll be consequences to that. So that education piece is going to be huge. But I think we as commissioners should play a huge role in making sure that that does not happen. Let's work on prevention. Let's work on education. I have from elementary students all the way up. Let's start there. We have to start there. And
that highlights the importance of education in the primary school level, which is the exact thing Don't Say Gay, HB 1557, is trying to get rid of. So if you look at the future consequences of that,
Sure.
it's more trans people are going to die.
Yes. Why should you get involved in preventing education, getting teachers involved in calling parents? Why are we there?
Because they see our existence as a crime.
And that's a problem. And we don't need those people in office.
Exactly. And tying into something you said in working with law enforcement, the people of color within the LGBTQ plus community also face a threat from, well, the police force. How would you as a commissioner address issues of policing?
I've worked with the police for a number of years, and we've always talked about community policing, what that looks like. So
Yes.
it's something cute to say, community policing, but what is that really?
Right.
Right. Are we having our officers out in the community more, getting to know our community, or just listening to what they hear? Oh, by the way, don't trust that person because of are you in the community to know that? Because everyone back in the days used to know the police officers, and they used to know who is police in their area, and there was a sense of pride, there was a sense of trust. Now it's everyone that looks this way or acts this way, yep, this is what they're doing, and we should go after them, and let's get rid of them. No, I've worked with Orange County Sheriff's Office for years, and we have taught our young people the importance of partnering up with our law enforcement. They too have family members as well, and law enforcement needs to know that not everyone with a hoodie on their head is a threat.
Yes.
Right? They also need to know that you're a human being, right? Why don't you take the time and get to know this community and the different groups and the different communities, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's important for us as commissioners to get involved. And the minute we start saying that's not our role, we have a problem.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Have a problem.
A majority of the trans people who died, who were murdered last year, were people of color. And a lot of their murders went unsolved. So it's in my opinion, up to leadership to ensure that to prevent their murders from ever happening, but at the same time, make sure that their killers are caught. And too often we see especially if they were sex workers, their lives are deprioritized.
There is and I know this is the world of television, right? But there's a show called Cold Case.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
Absolutely, I think all those cases need to be revisited. And those people need to be...
their families need peace.
Absolutely, yes.
Closure.
Killers need to be brought to justice. And the families need closure. And we need to send that message, though, that this needs to stop. Because everyone that gets involved in this, you will be caught. Yes, and there's consequences, severe consequences, and I would push for that.
I like that. And just one more question, I think. I had a delightful time talking with you.
Thank you. Oh,
and
absolutely.
I cannot look away from your eyes.
You know,
your eyeliner is just impeccable.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was done by a young person, excuse me. Young people. Because I'm thinking about young people on my mind, but it's done by a young person. Yeah.
You're a young
love
person.
her artistry and what she does. But the pleasure was all mine. I just briefly had a minute to just glance through, and I knew this was near and dear to me because I don't like injustice. It's an issue for me, a huge issue for me. Since I was yay high, I never liked that. I never liked being treated differently because of the color of my skin or because I wasn't born here. Right? I never entertained that. So any injustice at all puts me on a different level, and that level means solution. And it's about bringing about a solution for me. and it needs to stop.
I agree. I especially like the solution-oriented mindset. I'm
Yes.
an engineer, and so
Wow.
solution-minded is my entire life, and it's something we don't see a whole lot in politics.
We don't, because we like to talk about things. We like to talk about issues.
Yes.
We just like to talk. What's the solution? Please, when you're bringing a problem to me, talk to me about solutions that we can bring about to the table so this can stop. When someone cares about a community, that's why we elect servant leaders, because communities thrive when we do that. You have to be talking about a solution. I don't want anyone 50 years from now, oh, you remember she was a commissioner, or she was a mayor, or she was this, but not much happened.
Yeah.
Nah.
No, that should never be.
That should never be.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
All right. Well, my last question for you is, as a county commissioner, what goals would you set for the progress of LGBTQ plus rights? Goals that are trackable. How would you measure your progress?
That's in my top 5, because it has to do with injustice, right?
Yeah.
And the goals that I would set have to be measurable, right? Ones that once we get together with the different groups to learn more and to educate, where do we go from here? What do you want to see? I could sit here all day long and tell you what I'd like to see, but I want to know what will make an impact, what will help to bring about the change, right? So those goals have to be measurable. So if I can sit here and tell you 1, 2, and 3, 1 would definitely have to be, let's sit down and listen and have that conversation and educate.
Okay.
Right? 2, we have to move to the second step of what that will take.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? And number 3, let's bring our community together to make sure that we prevent this from going forward, where we treat people this way. Right? I think that's very important to start there, because once you start making moves, you'll see things start changing. And that's important. And I think that's where we should start.
That's a good starting point. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This has been a great conversation.
Yes.
And I look forward to more in the future.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I can't wait to implement this.
I'm excited.
Let's go, because there's hope. Once you give people hope, let's start there. When things look doom and gloom and just negative, and it's not a way to go. It's not a way to move us forward. It's just not.
So how can people find you?
Oh, absolutely. Sandra Fatmi-Hall, for Orange County District 2 Commissioner, can be found on sandrafatmi.com. So www.sandrafatmi.com. And I'm super excited about what's to come, because just sitting here talking to you has made me realize that there's a lot more work ahead of us than we think. It's not just one area, 2 areas, or 3 areas. There's several areas. But guess what? It's doable. And if you elect Sandra Fatmi-Hall as your next Orange County District 2 Commissioner, you'll see the work continue. And we have made several changes in this community. Allow me the opportunity to continue to be the change you want to see, and to definitely give our young people hope.
Thank you very much, Sandra.
Thank you so much.
You can find the Rainbow Democrats at rainbowdemocrats.org. And you can find us at the same name on all social media. Thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate you.